Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our monthly TempleCare Matters webinar. I'll be your host tonight, Michael O. Minor. I am privileged to be the National Director for our National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated Hope Health Ministry. We're so glad that you joined us. Look, you have an opportunity now for those that are watching us on social media. Why don't you take this time now to go ahead and share it in your social media networks. And we do welcome everybody that's watching us directly on Zoom. And you see our question that we'll have both on Zoom and in our social media. What did you eat for breakfast this morning? And Duke, our very capable technology moderator, will be assisting me in the chat as we look at those responses. Again, welcome everybody from all across the country for joining us tonight. Oh wow, it was just amazing number of people who are on social media this evening. All right, and tonight we're going to be dealing a lot with our nutrition and also with kidney health. We want to acknowledge our national leadership, our president, Dr. Jerry Young, our General Secretary, Dr. Alvin Edwards, the chair of our Federal Faith-Based Initiative, Dr. Alvin Love. In this evening's TempleCare Matters webinar, we'll share about March Suggested Health Services, which is National Nutrition Month, Taste Test Sunday, which is the third Sunday, March 17th, World Kidney Day, March 9th, and we have a great panelist tonight to share with us about that. The National Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, National Women and Girls HIV/AIDS Awareness Day, which is March 10th, and the American Diabetes Association Diabetes Alert Day, March 28th. Of course, we'll also updates tonight from Let's Move, NBCUSA. All right. So we're seeing that we have a mix of breakfasts on there. And of course, you know that some people didn't eat breakfast at all. All right. But I want you to know I'm a country fella, and I had a good breakfast this morning today. And what did I have? I had grape juice with vitamin C, waffles, grits, and homemade a mix of turkey, the ground turkey, and ground chicken. It was delish, and some peaches. So I had a great breakfast. Get a good day to start off. So let's keep posting in our chat, both on Zoom and in social media. Duke, I'm looking for you to help me on Restream, and we will keep sharing in today. For those of y'all that had nothing, oh my goodness. Wow. All right. Well, we know this evening's webinar, what are we going to say? It's supported by the funding from the NIH's All of Us research program. We want you to join our NBCS Hope team in becoming one in a million, our nation's most robust research studies. Let me just say a quick thing about this. A lot of times people may think about research studies. They think about we're trying to figure out what makes you sick and how can we make you well. One of the things I love about the All of Us research program, it actually look at some things that what makes us well. So I know everybody that's watching us on Zoom has done it, but those that are watching on social media or those that are watching on Zoom, share with others. Share our URL, joinallofus.org/NBCUSA. Share that information. Want to be part of that. This study has had more people of color in it than any other study of its kind, and so we want to keep that momentum going. Look, go ahead and join so that you'll be one in a million. Now, if this is the first time joining one of our webinars, we want you to participate in our NIH All of Us research program pre and post surveys. We're pasting the link for the pre-survey now. And Duke, if you will, you can restream and post there on our social media channels. And we'll share the post survey near the end of this evening's webinar. Thanks in advance for your participation. So those of y'all that receive it in our Zoom chat, amen. If this is your first time, want to make sure we do that. All right, somebody put it specific, had a 1.5 pancakes. Adrian Butler said 1.5 pancakes. Wow. 1 scrambled egg, a half a sausage patty, and 2, being precise, 2 tablespoons of hash brown casserole, syrup, and milk. Wow. Very precise there. Very interesting breakfast selections, as we can see this morning. I will share before the next point. When I was growing up, everything was with rice. That's why I don't eat very much white rice today. And we might have had salmon patties, we call them, jack mackerel, bacon, pork sausage, ham, catfish, any number of things we have grown up in the country. But there was always some rice, and there was always some molasses, and there's always biscuits. The biscuit was a cleanup piece. When you come back and get everything off the plate, you take the biscuit and go all around that plate. So when my grandmother got ready to wash the dishes, it was pretty much clean. But we're growing up there in the country. All right. Now, this webinar is part of a continuing series of First Tuesday TempleCare Matters webinars. They've evolved into hybrid events with virtual and in-person watch parties in our local NBCUSA congregations. And these sessions, we delve deeper into the 7 pillars of TempleCare Matters. And our 7 pillars are renew our minds, nutrition, which we'll be talking about tonight, exercise a little bit tonight, obesity in the Black America, health, knowledge, and legacy, safety and preparedness, and health ministry growth. And look, I want to thank you all, especially our regional health ambassadors, who have been taking it upon yourselves and doing them, each one of them in your churches. So kudos for the work you're doing. And hey, we're looking for some pictures that we can share on our Facebook page. All right. Now it's time for our triple-demic update. You know what triple-demic is. COVID-19, flu, RSV. Now, I'm going to say something we already know. Are you ready for this? The United States is observing a concurrent surge of COVID-19, influenza, the flu, and respiratory syncytial virus, RSV. Triple-demic, tridemic. That's what it's called by medical experts. The situation consists of an escalation of respiratory illnesses. These illnesses pose a significant threat to an already strained healthcare system. Okay. And so for those that are vulnerable, compromised immune system, have other illnesses, it's a potential lapse in care. So we want everybody to make sure, if you hadn't already done it, we know people hadn't done it, vaccinate if you haven't already. I've had my booster for COVID. I've had my flu shot. And they said this flu shot this season is one of the best they had in some time. And mask up as needed. Let's do what we can to stay healthy, NBCUSA family. All right? Guess what? Taste Test Sunday 2024. Taste Test Sunday 2024. It's coming. I'm already excited. Some people have asked, Dr. Minor, how did you come up with this? Where did this come from? This came out of nowhere. Well, in 2008, the Northwest Mississippi Rising Sun Usher Federation, I know, Mississippi, okay, designated the third Sunday in March as Taste Test Sunday to promote healthy meals at church functions by serving diabetic-friendly desserts. Now, we didn't use the word safe, but diabetic-friendly, they're better. In 2011, the NBCUSA H.O.P.E team adopted this observance as part of our promotion of healthy living. So this marks the 13th year we've observed this nationally. So on Taste Test Sunday 2024, we're asking NBCUS churches to sample diabetic-friendly desserts after worship. Okay? You'll watch members surprised as how good these desserts taste. Now, we have a toolkit that we're preparing. It will be up. We apologize. It is delayed, but we will have it up by the end of the week, and you can get information about how you can host your Taste Test Sunday observance. Now, we're looking for pictures, so make sure you share pictures at info@hopenbc.com. That's info@hopenbc.com, or just post them to our Facebook page. We want to see those pictures. You see some in what we have here, some fruit, and you can get some of this different toppings and things that are healthy. I mean, one year my mom prepared a mock, what do we call thing, apple pie. So there's all kind of things that we can do, that we can have, that they are diabetic safe. I mean, diabetic friendly. Excuse me. Huh? I know Sister Ellen would beat me for saying that. Diabetic friendly. And you know, for most of us that are Black folks, we love our desserts. I'll admit that since I got to junior high school, I despise cake and pie. I despise cake and pie. People call me crazy, but it works out in my household because my wife loves desserts. My wife loves dessert, so it works out quite well. All right. Somebody, again, for breakfast, somebody had a biscuit. I knew it was going to be a sausage biscuit, strawberry jelly, and coffee and water. I was looking for that biscuit and sausage. Okay. Oh, wow. A vegan muffin. A vegan muffin. Okay. All right. We're getting the things out here. Some smoothies. Okay. And some plain whole grain toast. Look at that. All right. Now, for this month's first feature, we're going to talk a little bit about National Nutrition Month. So we're going to look at a couple things here. We want to begin with talking about our seasoned saints. Everybody has seasoned saints, either in their immediate family, church family, somewhere you have seasoned saints. And so if you're not really familiar with seasoned saints are, those people that are 70 and older. One of the things we have to be careful for when we're talking about nutrition in our seasoned saints is to ensure that they are eating. You'll be amazed at the number of seasoned saints with plenty of food in their refrigerator, in their homes, and they don't eat. May I go a step further? It's not just enough that we bring them a plate. You know how we get excited when we do things for people, we prepare some food, and we run over to the house and say, "Hey, Sister So-and-so, we had a plate here for you, all lined up. You got it." And you rush in there, rush in there, get a plate, here your plate, and you leave out. What you don't realize that oftentimes they're lonely, they're alone, and they really don't feel like eating. So even though you feel great because you've brought the plate in there and you feel good in your heart, you've done a big favor for them, it's still not helping the nutrition. So we hope, we're not going to beg you, but we hope that when you do that, you also allot time. So when you come to that person's house, bring 2 plates, one for yourself and one for the seasoned saint. And you ask them, "Look, if it's okay, I bought a plate too. Can we just sit down and eat together?" Get there at the table, take your time, and eat. We're discovering that there are so many seasoned saints that even when you bring them food, they still don't eat. Some of them are just depressed by their circumstances and won't eat the food. If you come back there in a few days, it's still there in the refrigerator, or they've thrown it out. So take the time, half hour, an hour, to go in and sit with them. And don't eat in a hurry, okay? And it'll be a blessing for both of you all. The other thing that you look to do is We know many of our churches, when it comes to seasoned saints, we don't live in the communities where our seasoned saints do. Many oftentimes they may be near the church. They may be near the church, but we live out in the suburbs somewhere. So this is why it's important to make sure that your seasoned saints are connected to their neighbors. I think you've heard me say before, my neighbor next door doesn't look like me, almost 90 years old. His sons live a ways away, and he's one of those people. Now, if you give him a plate, he's going to eat it. Now, he don't worry about socialization. He's going to eat it, but he doesn't feel like preparing it. It's got to the point he can't drive over to Subway and get his foot long like he normally does. So my wife, and even I've done it on a couple occasions, and our other neighbor, we take turns taking a plate of food over to him. Now, we're not in his family, we're not in his church family, but we're his neighbors. And his sons really appreciate that. So there's another opportunity. If you live outside the area, you try to make sure that your seasoned saints, you know who their neighbors are. And look, my neighbor's son have actually offered us money to buy food. Said, no, it's a blessing for us. But there may be some situations where it may be a strain on those neighbors. That's not out of the ordinary. But that's another way that we can ensure that our seasoned saints are really being taken care of. Now, do y'all want to know another thing that our seasoned saints love not to do? You know what I'm saying? There's another thing our seasoned saints love not to do when it comes to nutrition. They love not to drink water. They will drink coffee and Cokes and everything else. I think some of them wait till they get out on their own. You know, when we were younger, say you need to drink some water. You say when I get grown, I'm gonna drink every Coke in sight. Blah 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 blah. So we need to make sure that our seasoned saints, we're there and they drink plenty of water to stay hydrated. It's important for our seasoned saints to stay hydrated. So there, bring them water. Encourage them to drink the water. It's important to be a part of what they have. Now, of course, I have a church member that I ask every Sunday what her mom has cooked. Now, the reason I do that, part of that is I'm kind of curious what she's cooking, but I know if she's cooking, that means she's feeling pretty good. But as of late, I've been hearing some of the things that her mom wants to eat. She has a taste for a pig's foot or pig ears. So we have to be careful with our seasoned saints because they want to go back and eat some of those things from way back when. And of course, they don't, when they were younger, we were on the farm, we ate all that bad stuff and then we worked it off. And now that they're sitting around the house, watching The Price is Right and the news and Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, then it's backing up on them. So one of the things we want to make sure that we do is, look, when they get to a certain age, they're going to eat what they want to eat. But try to work with them so they can do it in moderation, the vinegar things, some other things we do, but always be mindful of that. And try to work with them on experimenting with some of these new things. I see the smoothies that y'all have put there in this, in the chat. And I don't know about that wasa bread with high fiber. That might not be what we want to work with our seasoned saints. But some of those smoothies and other things, I'm meddling with somebody there, that they have might be some things that they can work on. Of course, you want to do what? You want to work with them when they're health professional. As I always say, what you eat may kill me. All right. So that's the first part. And then we're going to move on. If you have any other questions about our seasoned saints, let us know. We'll get some other information on that. And we are hopeful that when we get on our next call, that we get on the chat, you all will say, yes, we've done this. Another thing to do is always do this. Never assume in your fellowship meals that everybody can eat what you can eat. Never assume everybody in there for that fellowship meal can eat what you can eat. Some people really get on me because I direct our health initiative, and I skipped the salad. It's like, Dr. Miner, you're the director of the National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated Health Ministry, 31,000 churches, 7.5 million members, and you're not eating salad? What? That's a bad example. I had to explain to him, well, I've had some surgical procedures within my digestive system. If I eat a salad, I may very well end up in the hospital. My digestive system cannot handle raw salad. Just can't do it. And so that's why I say, if you had a meal and you came out there with some salad and bread and whatnot, and you thought everybody was going to be just going to town, I would starve. I wouldn't have anything to eat. So we want to make sure you have them out. And also, people get on me about asparagus. Oh, that's real healthy. I cannot eat asparagus because I can't digest it. And some asked about steamed vegetables. Well, they have to really, because I had some broccoli. I had some broccoli Sunday, and it was done for most people, but it wasn't enough for me because it needs to be cooked to a point where it's good and tender, like country folks do it. And I wanted something green, and it was kind of okay. Well, later on Sunday, I realized it wasn't okay. I thought it was kind of okay. Later on Sunday, I found out it wasn't okay. All right, so it really has to be down, has to be moist. And as of late, y'all not gonna like this next part. I've got to the point where I can't eat mustard greens or collard greens. I can still eat turnip greens for now. But I tell you, I'm not upset. I'm not mad about it, because when I've eaten some of those things and it's made me sick, every time somebody has some of that, don't worry. I don't have a problem with that. But look, for our meals, let's try to figure out our folks in most of our congregations don't have thousands of folks in it. We can kind of figure out, we got those people there in the congregation that have special dietary concerns and everything. Just have something for them. And please, especially at the repast, let's not have the typical Black Baptist repast, which is what? Gonna have some corn you throw in the microwave, some beans you throw in the microwaves, some rolls you're not gonna warm up, some fried chicken from Walmart or Kroger somewhere, and some tea that's weak as water. Okay? I guess you want more folks to go to the funeral home. So try to have some options there. Or if you're not, I'm of this belief, if you're just not gonna do anything, with the repast, just don't have one. Just say, man, we're not gonna have a. If you're gonna do that, just say we're not gonna have a repast. But try to have some options. Nothing wrong with a fruit salad or other things you can have there, or just ask. You can, there's nothing wrong with asking people. Now, you might not be able to do it, but you can ask. You can ask so that we can get everything lined up. And be very careful with the nuts, because those other allergies and things, we want to make sure that we're very careful. I was saddened. I heard the story the other day that the person was at Disney World, and they asked the wait person about the meal, and said that it was all good. It was good. And then it comes to find out it wasn't. And later that evening, the lady had a bad reaction and died. So we want to make sure that we have that in place. Somebody said, don't do repasts. Well, and it is true. More and more families, I'm seeing that more and more families are getting away from repasts. Some of them will do it because of the emotion of the day. Some of them would rather go to their homes and just have around family and friends instead of being in the church. So I think it's a dialogue that we can have, and getting things done. And then one last piece is for our pastors. I know we love our pastors. Don't we love our pastors, everybody? We love our pastors. We love them. Okay? Yeah, food allergies are serious. But why is it that we love them so much until we fix them the special preacher plate? The special preacher plate. And the special preacher plate has the two biggest piece of chicken you can ever find. Matter of fact, the piece is so big, if I saw that chicken that was killed for those two pieces, I would run. That's a huge chicken. You put it on that plate, and you put a bunch of macaroni and cheese, and the collard greens on there, and the cornbread on there. Okay. And then, because you want to make sure that you don't upset anybody, you done have 4 of the sisters, the seasoned saints, that really labored over the in the oven. And 3 of them got some good old cakes, and 1 of them got a pie. And each one of them, Pastor, you gotta taste my cake. You gotta taste my pie. And so, hey, let's get this big old preacher plate, 3 slices of cake, and a slice of apple pie, and a big old glass of sweet tea. But you love your pastor. And lay it all right out there. Wow. And then pastor's going to feel compelled to eat it all, especially dessert. Because if he get one of those slices and doesn't eat it, they'll come back there and say, oh, pastor didn't like my cake. So please, if you really love your pastor, you really love your pastor, help him out, help her out. Just back off those portions. It worked out for me. Yes, Pastor Montgomery, you want to get on plate to go. But it worked out for me. I don't like white meat. I like dark meat. And so it was trimmed down a lot of things that I wasn't able to eat. But that was the other part of it on nutrition. So in our churches, this is National Nutrition Month. Let's do better in what we're doing. Okay? A few things that popped up in the chat that we have is that, again, we're learning here that now that churches are getting away from repast, that we have to be careful about our usher ministries, our health ministries, learning what people, the allergies, things they have not. Make sure the vegetable things are cooked well for people as necessary. All right. And to make sure to do those things and make things work very well for us. Okay. All right. Woo. That's it. That's it for now. Everybody said, thank God for the Lord help the vegans. Help the vegans. Help the vegans. All right. Look, everybody. Look, now let's go on the other side of it. We've talked about eating. Now it's time to move. Let's get moving, NBCUSA family. It's time to hear from our NBCUSA moving guru, Sister Nettie Johnson. She's been moving to get here. I took a little time so she can make sure she can get everything lined up. All right, Sister Nettie, we're in your hands.
Good evening, everybody. And good evening, Dr. Mina. Thank you for all of those reminders to help us to eat better. We have a really fast update for you all this month. We just want to first of all say praise God for the stewardship of many of you that have been continuing on with Let's Move National Baptist. As you all know, our goal with this program is not to do a series of challenges, where we do something for 24 days or 30 days, because while those can be very exciting and can pull energy together, evidence-based data shows that oftentimes people don't complete the challenges, and the percentage of people that do often do not continue those behaviors beyond the challenge because it may not have been a fit for their lifestyle. So our design is just to encourage people to find their fit and be consistent in it. So each month when we're checking in, we're just congratulating those that are moving, reminding those that maybe have stopped to keep doing it. And I just want to lift something that was pretty exciting. This month, we actually had 4 times the number of people that we've had so far this year. 4 times the number of people submitted their movement minutes. And we've heard some really great comments on that form. It asks what worked well, what do you plan to do differently the next year? And it's just exciting to see your progress. So congratulations. Every step is a good step. Just keep on moving. If you are not on the Let's Move National Baptist email list, as always, we're going to drop the link into the chat and also post it on Facebook because we're going to make sure that you're getting the emails. The one that we sent out this last week also did have some nutrition tips in honor of National Nutrition Month. But as we get ready to close out, we just want to congratulate one member who did submit their minutes. So remember, participation can pay. So you actually have to do some movement and then report your minutes towards our 1 million mark. And you have to be present on the webinar. During Dr. Miner's presentation, we did a random drawing, and the winner, let me make sure they're still on. Okay, they are. And the winner for this month is Clifford Jones. Clifford Jones. Now, on the email, it says pastor. Are you a pastor, sir?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is a pastor.
Pastor Jones, congratulations. Yes. Are you able to unmute, or are you willing to share a little bit? Congratulations, sir.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay, good. Yeah, I've been on a program and through Amplify, and as a part of that, I'm a cancer survivor. And they're doing research looking at cancer survivors as to diet and exercise, what effect it has on cancer survivors. And so I've been on that for about 16 months, and it's about a 1.5-year program. I'm almost through, but I do a lot of walking. I try to do about 10,000 steps, not every day, but I'm somewhere between 6 and 10 that I do each day during the week. So I'm doing great. So thank you for the recognition.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. How are you feeling? Are you feeling better? Are you finding that it's helping you? You're doing it because of your cancer risk reduction, but how are you feeling, sir?
Outstanding. In fact, I've lost 30 pounds, and because of that, I have my doctor has taken me off my blood pressure.
Come through.
Blood pressure
Look at God. Come on.
Doing extremely well. So a lot of energy. So I'm grateful.
All right, Sister Nettie, we're also going to be at his church for the Alabama Missionary Baptist State Convention Congress Christian Education.
Yes.
In Opelika, Alabama. Almost in Georgia. We're looking forward to being there.
That is wonderful. And I think that it is also so helpful and important when the pastors are leading the way and sharing that information from the pulpit. So may God continue to bless your stewardship. Thank you so much, and congratulations. I'll reach out to you via email to get the address to mail your gift to you. God bless you, and thank you so much.
Congratulations, Pastor.
That concludes Let's Move National Baptist. Y'all make my heart glad when you share this information. So just keep moving for your health, God's glory, and the example for others. Thank you all so much.
All right. Thank you, Sister Nanny. And this is amazing. We're there, and we're going to see Pastor Jones there later on. I know I have to worry about them having healthy choices. He's always very forward-thinking there on the Alabama-Georgia border. All right. Thank you, Sister Nettie. Moving is a good thing. All right. Now we're ready for our second special feature this evening, kidney disease. And we have a very special guest panelist, Reverend Dr. Marino A. Bruce. All right. Dr. Bruce is Associate Dean for Research at the University of Houston, Tillman J. Fertitta Family College of Medicine, and is responsible for maintaining and expanding the research infrastructure of the college. He's also a clinical professor in the Department of Behavioral and Social Sciences and holds a secondary appointment in the Department of Health Systems and Population Health Sciences. He co-leads the Community and Faith-Based Research Subcommittee for the Network of Minority Research Investigators for the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Disease, and is serving a 3-year appointment on the Publications Committee of the American Public Health Association. Now check this out. He's the co-editor of not one, but 2 recent books, Men's Health Equity and Racism, Science and Tools for the Public Health Professionals. Like he has, now look at his credentials. All these are earned now. He has a bachelor's degree in economics from Davidson College, a master's degree in rural sociology, divinity, and Rehabilitation Counseling from North Carolina State University, Piedmont Theological Seminary, and Winston-Salem State University, respectively. He earned his doctorate in sociology from North Carolina State University and received postdoctoral training in family medicine from University of Wisconsin-Madison and in biobehavioral health from Duke University. Now, he's also an ordained Baptist minister. I know, go figure, and is among marginalized population. His current work has been featured by numerous global media outlets, including USA Today, The Today Show, and Time Magazine. Welcome, Dr. Bruce.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Dr. Minor. This is an honor and a privilege to be with you and all of those that have joined tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you for that warm introduction. Yeah, what I am is Marino Bruce. That's who I am. My parents didn't name me doctor. They didn't name me reverend. They named me Marino. So that's what I go by. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right. So glad to have you on this evening. And we thank Sister Bettina Campbell for connecting us for us with the National Baptist. All right, National Baptist. All right, family. All right. Those y'all that are watching on Zoom, those are watching on social media, and those are watching later. This is a very important segment that we're about to talk about because it's dealing with kidney disease. Okay. Now, we have several questions here to help guide discussion. Dr. Marino. So now, first of all, I know this is going to sound like a crazy question, but it needs to be asked because we have people that misunderstand it. What is chronic kidney disease?
Yeah, chronic kidney disease is basically the best way I would say it is a reduction in kidney function. So in other words, our kidneys are the organs that filter the blood. And so they do so, they work automatically. You don't know that they're operating most of the time. But what happens is as we age, or if there are other risk factors, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little bit, they make the kidneys work harder and harder. And as they work too hard, then what happens, they deteriorate. The kidney actually begins to shrink. And so as the kidney deteriorates, that means they are less able to filter the blood, which means that there are things that we talk about and called proteins. They begin to spill into other areas of the body where they don't need to. And in other words, what happens, they don't filter as well, which means that there are other contaminants or other types of noxious agents harm the body. Because the point of you, I see you drinking water. That's exactly what you need to do. You need to flush the kidneys, right? You keep flushing those kidneys, keep them strong. And because if our kidneys fail, we don't live very long. So so what happens with chronic kidney disease, they get to a point where they get to a level where they almost don't work, and we're in trouble when that happens.
Okay. Well, that's a nice segue then. So there's some stages to this process. So can you kind of enlighten us on the stages of chronic kidney disease?
Sure. Typically what happens, the one thing about kidney disease is that most people don't know they have it when their kidneys are starting to deteriorate, when they don't function as well. You don't know it. And so you have stage 1, which is pretty much almost normal. There's a filtration rate, and that what happens is you'll go to, if you get an annual checkup, you go and you'll give them a urine sample, and they test it, and there's a formula that they use to determine how well your kidneys are function. There are 5 stages typically. And so stage 1, it's you have a reading of 90 or above, you're okay, you're great, your kidneys are functioning well. Even if you have a little bit of damage, they still function well. When you get to stage 2, they will let you know that, okay, stage 2 means you're not as good as stage 1, but your kidneys are doing all right. So it decreases by, I would say, maybe 10% in terms of its function. When you get to stage 3, that's where you get to mild to moderate kidney disease. That's where your kidneys are not functioning as well as they should. Typically, what happens with this is that's when your primary care provider, they may refer you to an endocrinologist, right? Or a urologist, or someone who nephrologist typically One of those three depends upon what other risk factors you have, but typically a nephrologist to pay closer attention to it because once your kidneys start to deteriorate, you can't necessarily reverse it. So
Mm.
once those kidney cells start to die, there's nothing you can do to reverse that. So they
Mm.
pay real close attention to that. That's when they'll start to tell you to eat certain things. That's when they tell you to watch your fluid intake or what you're taking in, because what you don't want to happen, you don't want progression to stage 4. I mean,
Mm.
you're almost in trouble. And stage 5 is when you're in kidney failure. So when you get to
Mm.
late stage 4 and 5, that's when you are subject to being prescribed dialysis. Now,
Whoa.
in most communities, particularly communities of color or African American communities, you'll see a dialysis center.
Oh
They're
yeah.
around everywhere.
You're right.
They are around everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happens in when you're on dialysis, that means a machine filters your blood
Mm-hmm.
because your kidneys can no longer do that. Now, some might say, well, all right, a machine does it. What's the big deal? Well, the thing about it is anything that goes outside of the body and comes back in, there are huge side effects.
Mm.
See, God
Mm.
created our bodies to function independently.
Definitely. Okay.
Anytime you add a machine to it, it's
Mm.
never going to be as good as how God created it. So what
Mm.
often happens is that when you're on dialysis, first of
Mm.
all, it takes a long time. It could
Mm.
take 2 to 3 hours.
Mm.
You're often tired. One
Mm.
of the things that happens, I mean, people react to dialysis differently, but there's wear and tear on it. And the other thing about it, sometimes you may have to do dialysis 2 to 3 times a week, which
Mm.
means that work is disrupted.
Mm.
You have to think about how you handle travel.
Mm.
You have to think about all of those things because dialysis actually changes your life. It changes how your family functions. It changes how you feel. It changes how you are to work, if you can work. Sometimes dialysis can be so taxing on the body that folks have to stop working.
Mm.
That's when people get, disability. And also when you're on dialysis, you're subject to deepening heart disease as well, because what
Mm.
people don't know, there are about 35 million people walking around with kidney disease right now.
Mm.
35 million
How many
folks.
people? Wow.
So that's about 1 in 7. One
Mm-hmm.
out of every 7 people will have heart disease. So if you're in a room full of 70 people,
Mm-hmm.
right? 10 of them could have kidney disease. They may not know it, right? Because you don't feel symptoms until you're stage 3, stage 4, God forbid, stage 5. You're in trouble then. And so with that, unfortunately, folks don't pay enough attention to the kidneys. Now, there
Mm.
are a lot of risk factors, and we can talk about that if folks are interested, but um, African Americans are 4 times more likely to have kidney disease. They're actually more likely to have end-stage renal disease much earlier. I'll give you a statistic that sort of blew my mind. Typically, kidney disease is something that people get later in life.
Mm-hmm.
Around 30% of the population of those who have kidney disease tend to be 65 and older. So
Mm-hmm.
it's something that happens later in life. But what happens with Black men in particular, Black men, chronic kidney disease becomes a leading cause of death among Black men at age 35.
Wow.
Wow.
The
35.
leading cause of, and when CKD is a leading cause of death for white men at age 55. So there's a 20-year gap in terms of, so kidney disease is quite prevalent among African Americans and African American men in particular.
So
So
why so
we have
why
to
is
be
that?
careful about that.
So why is
Well, so part of that are the risk factors. There are a number of risk factors that we talked about. One of them, and you were talking about nutrition and exercise. Well, if you don't have good nutrition, you don't exercise, you're more likely to be obese. So if you're more likely to be obese, then that means that you have a higher risk for type 2 diabetes and you have a higher risk for hypertension. Those are the 2 major risk factors for chronic kidney disease. As a matter of fact, those as part of uh, management of diabetes is checking. It's called checking your proteins in your urine.
Mm.
And so if they see that it's called spilling proteins, which means that your kidneys aren't working as well as they should, and so they aren't filtering, and so proteins, these larger proteins will be found in your urine, which means that your kidneys are beginning to fail.
Wow.
And it's all because these diseases make the kidneys work harder.
Mm.
And because they're part of not only the renal system, but the cardiovascular system, anytime you have chronic kidney disease, you're more likely to have heart disease. So it's all linked together. So those risk factors, again, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, obesity, major risk factors of chronic kidney disease. There are others. There are other types of kidney disease that people are born with. Um, there are, for some reason, we haven't quite figured it out yet in terms of why African Americans have it younger. That's some of the work that I've been doing with colleagues trying to figure this thing out.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we do know that those three major obesity, hypertension, and type 2 diabetes, we got to watch that. So to your point, when you're talking about nutrition and exercise, we have to do that. We think about, yes, we want to manage our weight, and we do need to do that.
Okay.
We do need to do that. However, if we don't, that causes other things down the road. So yeah, we say I'm packing on an extra 20 pounds. Well, that extra 20 pounds means that your organs are working harder. And if they're working harder, that means that they can uh, deteriorate sooner.
Mm.
And so that happens. We'll call that biological aging, right? Where our bodies are older than our chronological age. So chronic kidney disease is part of that mix.
Well, look, what can we do to protect our kidneys? I know you
Ah,
have something, but specifically some things that we can do, and we share that
sure,
with our families.
sure. What you were just talking about,
Mm-hmm.
nutrition,
Mm-hmm.
exercise, water.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful, and what I would say, be careful about your salt intake and your sugar intake.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two key things.
Well, salt and
Uh,
sugar. Wow, the black folks. Oh man, it's like woof.
yeah. I get it. I get it. But one of the things about it though, and
Mm-hmm.
and I mean this from serious, I know this from personal experience and some of the work that we're beginning to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you cut back on the salt and sugar,
Mm-hmm.
um, sugar in particular is almost like a drug. It's almost like a drug. And the
Oh.
reason you know that is because if someone has a heroin addiction,
Mm-hmm.
if they stop using heroin, the first thing they do is use a lot of other sugar. It hits those same elements in our brain, and
Oh,
we get addicted to it. We
wow.
actually get addicted to it because I can tell you, when
Uh,
I started reducing the amount of sugar, I actually got a headache.
wow.
So, and part of that headache is part of withdrawal
Wow.
from sugar. So sugars and salts. I mean, salt can be the same way. It's a little bit different, but sugar operates in that way. So it takes a minute. So when you try to reduce it, you're going to feel it. You're
Wow.
actually going to feel it. But what happens is when you reduce the salt and sugar, your taste buds will change. So when you're putting up that fresh fruit that's there,
Okay.
a lot of times people will get fruit and they'll put sugar on it,
Oh yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But the reality of it is, if you do this in, I would say, 3, 4 weeks, if you cut it down, you will find that you'll taste the sweetness in fruit a lot more because your palate changes. See, the body is an amazing thing. It can adapt.
Mm.
And so what happens there is the natural sweetness comes out of the fruit. So things that you thought were sour or bitter, some of that is because we have that coating on our tongues because we've been eating so much sugar in our lives that we don't even taste it. So we
Wow.
keep adding more and more to it.
Wow.
So those things that are important. Now, again, it's not easy because you're right, in our culture, how we grew up. Um, that's right. Try to bake an apple, no sugar, because there's sugars in
Indeed.
fruit,
In fruit. Yes, it is.
right? So the sweetness will come out of it. But what we do is we shortcut it. We add sugar to it. Like when you mention apple pie, right? Think about one apple. An apple has 60 calories. A slice of apple pie has over 500.
Wow. Wow, that's a well. Yeah, well, okay, my poor wife. Boy, I tell you, she's
So
gonna
we
OD.
just, yeah. And so we just have to. And so when we're taking all of these things in,
Hmm.
we're causing our body to work a lot harder. And so when we make our body work harder, then things don't work as well sooner, right? And
Right.
so, but the good news is this,
Hmm.
and this is the good news. Before we get to the part of one of the things I'll say is through nutrition and exercise, that whatever risk we are, if we're pre-diabetic, as a matter of fact, the person who won tonight, he was walking. My guess is he was eating better. And guess what? He got off his hypertension medication. So some of this stuff is actually reversible by things we can do within our own control.
Wow.
Whatever we put on our fork and whatever we do in terms of what we let into our body and how and what it is we do with our bodies can actually reverse risk. So if we reduce risk for um, type 2 diabetes and we reverse hypertension, then we're reversing the risk for chronic kidney disease at the same time. So it's
Wow.
doable.
Let's
We
do it.
just,
Yeah.
we have to love ourselves enough to think, all right, do I love not being on medication more than I love the taste of that apple pie?
So that means our church families, we got to do a much better job in our repasts and fellowship meals and stuff to help along the way.
So, and one of the things I'll say is give you a shout out for the Taste Test Sunday.
Hmm.
So, one of the things that, those types of initiatives can help folks understand that, yes, I learned how to cook this way. But there are other things that are really tasty, but don't have the oil, the salt, and the sugar. We just have to expand, we got to expand our dietary horizons in a way that allows us to enjoy these things a lot longer. Because one of the things about having type 2 diabetes is that you ever see the portions that someone with type 2 diabetes get? They can't eat. So when your pancreas fails, you can't eat even fruit in great portions. See, when you don't have it, you can eat as much fruit, you can eat as many vegetables as you want. If they're cooked properly, you can eat all you want. You can eat a big bowl of berries and strawberries and whatever, much as you want. But when your pancreas starts to fail, you got to watch that because your pancreas does not work, which means that your insulin control um, is out of whack. So something that is typically healthy in any, in when our
Mm.
organs are functioning normally, can become unhealthy for us when they don't.
All right. Wow. All right. So I see we got some additional questions. This is what we're gonna do. Um, wow. You got folks going up here, Dr. Bruce. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna go through and we got a couple more things we're gonna cover. And
Hmm.
we go in the Q&A section and whatnot and come back in. Y'all put your question in the chat there and whatnot. We just appreciate him so much for allowing us this time. So since you are a Baptist preacher, your voice is good. So we're going to come back through this. Y'all put the question in the chat. So the first question we get back, Dr. Marino, is they're going to ask you about a simple definition of hypertension. That's going to be your first question. All right.
Ah,
When we come back.
okay,
All
sure
right.
thing.
All right. So look, everybody. Look, we've covered this. All right. So we're gonna thank him. Come back in our Q&A section, ask some more questions. Well, look, a couple things coming up. We'll go back and remind you about our All of Us research program. Okay. It's a collaboration NH All of Us research program. Our community is just unique in culture and tradition, but also in our health needs. We are special. I ain't talking about short bus. So participating in the All of Us research program is a step towards making sure health research considers our specific needs. So visit our page. When you get there, see a picture of Sister Matt and I rolling it. Join All of Us today. Look, we also get this QR code, this brand new QR code. So we love you. If you haven't had to go and scan the QR code to promote our involvement with NIH. All right, and there it is there. So do that to scan the code and share with others. You can copy it and share with others so they can let us know that National Baptist is serious about the All of Us Research Program. All right. National Women and Girls HIV/AIDS Awareness Day, Sunday, March 10th. That's a day to raise awareness about the impact of HIV on women and show support for women and girls with HIV. That's on March the 10th. All right. American Diabetes Association Diabetes Alert Day. That's March 28th. Observed annually on the fourth Tuesday in March by the American Diabetes Association. Diabetes Alert Day is a one-day wake-up call that focuses on the seriousness of diabetes and the importance of understanding your risk. All right. All right. Look, I promised to provide a $400 marketing stipend to the region that has the most UTM and web-page analytics each month. Now, we know last month, Southwest 2 looked up and won. All right. So, Duke, which region won this month? The drum roll here. He's calculating. All right. And the winner is? What'd you say, Duke?
The winner is, well, same region as last month.
What? Not Southwest 2.
Yay!
Is that yeah.
All right. All right. Now, it's something. The fix must be on or something. Southwest 2 won 2 months in a row. Southwest 1. What's up with Southwest 1? Mississippi, Alabama? Wow. Tennessee.
Great job, Southwest.
Wow.
Texas, Louisiana, come through.
Arkansas, yay!
Hey.
Well, congratulations to that regional coordinator, Sister Linda Copper. So they won 2 months in a row.
Thank you.
And we're going to tighten it up and we'll get to take care. So congratulations there to you all. Better luck next month to our other regions. Remember that all begins with the QR code followed by the landing page, joinallofus.org/NBCUSA, and then by creating an account. All right. March is National Cholesterol Cancer Awareness Month. We can save lives with prevention awareness. Cholesterol cancer, or CRC, is the second deadliest cancer in the United States. Every March, National Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month spotlights this disease and inspires more people to get checked starting at age, well, they're saying now, depending if you're Black, age 40. 2 reasons why getting checked matters. Screening can find the warning signs of colon and rectal cancer, letting doctors take action to prevent the disease. Secondly, screening can also find colorectal cancer early when treatment is most effective. 1 in 24 people will be diagnosed with CRC in their lifetime, but you can make a difference today. Learn about ways to build awareness, how to get support. Tomorrow can't wait. All right. Now, for NBC USA, yes, schedule your colonoscopy. And we're so thankful they're actually coming up with new treatments now, new diagnostic procedures that are even less invasive. So let's do this so we can be around for a while longer. All right. For NBC USA Taste Test Sunday and our other health services, we direct you to our webpage, hopenbc.com, hopenbc.com. Listen there of our church observances, other services. As I stated earlier, if this is your first time joining one of our webinars, we want you to participate in our NIH All of Us Research Program pre and post surveys. We are pasting the link for the post survey now. Thanks again for your participation in this effort for us. All right, he's pasting the link there for you to have. All right. Woo! We've covered much this evening, but the best part is coming now. We want to hear from you. You may type in the chat or raise your virtual hand. For those watching on social media, we'll do our best to capture your questions. We once again want to thank the NIH's All of Us research program for being our major sponsor this evening. Let's not forget our March marketing updates. National Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, National Nutrition Month, NBCUSA Hope, American Kidney Fund, Kidney Sunday, which was Sunday, World Kidney Day on the 9th, National Women and Girls HIV Awareness Day on the 10th, Taste Test Sunday, Taste Test Sunday, Taste Test Sunday. Look forward to seeing those pictures. Thank you for seeing those pictures. Thank you for seeing those pictures in advance on March 17th. And I know, when we get to Opelika, we're going to be able to taste some of the great, awesome Taste Test Sunday diabetic-friendly desserts that Pastor Jones and the crew going to have out there for us. I'm counting it already. All right. American Diabetes Association Alert Day, March 28th. All right. Again, you can go and download a complete list of our health services from our website, hopenbc.com. You'll find additional information there about different resources. Now, upcoming, this weekend, we'll have our first regional meeting. It'll be in Little Rock, Friday and Saturday. Region 2, Sister Linda Copper is a regional coordinator. The Liberty Hill Baptist Church, Little Rock, Pastor Roy V. Elliott Jr. Some classes there, information about our All of Us research program, about the Hope Health Initiative. It'll be there. You can email info@hopenbc.com, info@hopenbc.com. Everybody in the Little Rock area, we look forward to seeing you there. At the end of April, all right, April 26th and 27th, we'll look to see you all in Miami, Florida, and in Mobile, Alabama. Miami, Florida for our Southeast region, and Mobile, Alabama for Southwest 1. All right. Now, here's the agenda for our next TempleCare Matters webinar, April 2nd. We're talking about Minority Health Month, National Autism Awareness Month, World Health Day, and we'll do a quick overview of our SSPB Vacation Bible School material. Now, remember, you can always join us on the web and social media. We turn our webpage, hopenbc.com, Facebook page, National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated, Hope Health Initiative, Twitter at Hope_NBCUSA, our YouTube channel, NBCUSA Hope, and we have our app. And you can go on the Google or the Apple Play Store and download our app. Okay. If you'd like to enroll in our health ministry training, in person or self-paced, you can email info@hopenbc.com or call 901-603-0762 for our health ministry training. 901-603-0762. All right. We appreciate your feedback. So would you kindly complete our webinar survey? We're going to paste the link in the chat for our webinar survey. As my late father always reminded me, the biggest room there is the room for improvement. So if you take an opportunity now to complete that webinar survey, we would really appreciate that. Okay? Appreciate that there in the chat. Take a few moments to complete the webinar survey. All right. I think we got the things out the way, so I think we're ready now. So actually, when we call him Reverend Doctor, he really is a Reverend Doctor. He didn't pay $25 for it. Did I say that? All right. So here we go. The Q&A time for Dr. Bruce. We'll bring you back in. So we come back up. Remember, the first question is that one of our folks in here wants to know a simple definition for hypertension.
Yeah, hypertension is basically it's blood pressure, but what that means is your blood pressure is too high, which means that the blood pressure in your veins is too high, which means that your heart is working harder, right? It's pumping, and also it could be that your vessels are stiffening up. Could be that the pressures cause from plaque in it, which means that they are, those are those things that are basically, your blood vessels are gumming up. And so it's just like if you take a hose, for example, and you run, um, if dirt gets caked up in it, right? And you try to run water through it, the pressure is going to be harder on the hose. Or here's what you do. Here's the best way to think about it. Think about it, what they tell you when there's a cold spell. They tell you don't have a hose outside, right? Well, that's
Mm,
because ice has accumulated in the hose. And so when that ice expands, it bursts the hose. Well, your blood vessels are very much like that. They are elastic. So the more stuff that's in it, the more it expands. And so you have two numbers. The top number is your blood pressure when you're active, which means that, whatever you're doing. And that bottom number is your diastolic pressure. It means that's your pressure at rest. So there are numbers. They want it to be no more than 120, meaning active blood pressure or systolic blood pressure. And they want it no higher than that. Now, when you're exercising, your blood pressure is going to increase, and that's normal. Okay. But it's when you are just more sitting, if you just walked into a place and you sit down for a few minutes, they want that systolic number to be under 120, and they want that lower number to be under 80. Okay. So when it gets over that, and so your blood pressure varies throughout the day. Okay. So with hypertension, that means there's a diagnosis that you have that number exceeds the 120, typically around 140. If it's 140 or over, and it's that way over 3 months' time, then they would diagnose you as being hypertensive, which means that your blood pressure stays up stays up too high too long. That's basically what it means.
okay. All right. The next question says you mentioned about all the different places people go for dialysis. So all the dialysis centers we see, are they about the same? Doesn't really matter which one you go to.
Yeah, they're about the same. What I would say is it's how they are treated, how you're treated at that space, but they all basically do the same thing. They will have either a chair that you sit in and a dialysis machine of different sizes, basically, to do the filtering of your blood, and you just sit there. That's
Okay.
basically it.
All right. We've had some concerns, even in the rural area or urban areas, where people have trouble getting transportation to the dialysis centers.
Hmm.
But there are some churches where they have people in leadership who are concerned about liability if they were to transport them there. But we know what the famous thing is, that there's plenty of transportation in the Black community. It's just parked in the church parking lot. So, as a Baptist preacher, is there anything you can speak? I don't know, maybe you can't speak to it, but can you kind of provide?
Well, I mean, I do understand that whole idea of liability, but again, if we're talking about folks going to dialysis or something like that, where it gets into that, as long as you don't have an accident, you're good. Um, but again, it's more along the lines of um, what this is where your health ministry comes in. This is where you have the intersection between your health ministry and whatever your transportation ministry, because your folks who are driving have to be aware of who they're taking. So if you're taking folks to dialysis, then you gotta be aware and look out for certain things. I would say you need to be CPR trained. Not that that's going to happen, right?
Right.
This is just more along the lines of just being prepared. That's the main thing. Because most of the time, sometimes people drive themselves to dialysis. So it's not that it sucks all the energy out of you, but again, it can make folk tired. And so that's where if you have a ride, it's better to have one. But again, people tolerate dialysis differently. So I don't think that the risk is super high. But what I would say is that if you're taking someone to any chronic disease visit, not just an annual visit, but a chronic disease visit, then you need to be mindful about that. It's the same thing with diabetes, right? If a person's blood sugar gets too high, they can have a diabetic episode. Same thing with hypertension. If the blood pressure gets too high, they can have an episode. So it's just being aware, and that way you can respond um, calmly. Make sure you have your cell phone powered up so you can dial 911 or what have you. Just being prepared that whatever population you are transporting, be aware of that something could happen, but also that you can get help. That's why you have first responders. They can help.
Okay. All right. I don't see if there are any other questions. But what we normally do is we're gonna wrap up here, but we do allow a few minutes after we go off the social media in case of additional questions. Wow, you've really done a great job, and with Duke, we thank you for the feedback from social media, and we've also said that people are saying that this is a great opportunity just to use this excerpt. I guess they don't worry about what I just said, what I said, but they said use the excerpt. Use the excerpt on the kidney disease part as a part of your church health ministry. But whatever works.
Indeed.
What we do? Okay, we have another question in Q&A. Okay, hold on, because I got my notes up here. How bad is it if the systolic pressure is high, 150 to 170, but diastolic stays between 50 and 70?
Ooh, well, something's going on that you would need to go see someone because usually those numbers don't track like that because what that means is so when you are active, that means it's really high, and then the diastolic is really low. So what I would do is please go see about that to see what's going on there because typically they track together, but when you do this, right, you might want to get that checked out. Just to, again, I'm not an MD. So let me be very clear. I'm not an MD. However, I do know enough to say, that those patterns they're a little bit unusual. So, go get yourself checked out on that.
All right. Well, this concludes our online our online social media Q&A period. And for those that are watching on Zoom, give us a few minutes to get our ending critics, and we will you'll be able to share again. All right, so hold tight there, Reno. Okay. Now I appreciate the tireless work of our NBCUSA Hope team. Yours truly, Michael Miner, Dr. Desi Levy, Sister Lottie Miner, Sister Nettie Johnson, Pastor Dexter Mulroney, Sister Ellen McKnight Hill, Dr. Felisa Washington, Minister Geraldine Moore, Sister Loretta Miller, Dr. Lavora Williams, Sister Bettina Campbell, Dr. Marion Talley, and our awesome technology moderator, Brother Thomas Duke Robinson. Our 7 regional coordinators: the Northeast, Pastor Daniel Blackburn; Southeast, Sister Brooklyn Rogers; Southwest 1, Pastor Bernard Montgomery; Southwest 2, Sister Linda Copper; Midwest, Sister Teresa Fels Farr; West, Sister Tafara Robinson; Far West, Pastor Richmond Johnson. To connect with your regional coordinator, email info@hopenbc.com. info@hopenbc.com. Now, we know some of you have additional questions or comments, so we'll formally close this season's webinar in just a moment. We'll then open the mics for a general Q&A session. We hope to see you on Tuesday, April 2nd, for our next TempleCare Matters webinar. Finally, we acknowledge our president, Dr. Jerry Young, who reminds us to envision the future exceptionally. This has been a production of the National Baptist Convention USA Incorporated, the nation's largest Black denomination. God bless and God keep you is our prayer.